Welcome once again to Bio 211, the Plant Physiology, Unit 2, Session 6, Factors Affecting Respiration. And by the end of this session, students should be able to state some plant factors that affect respiration. You state some environmental factors that affect respiration. Explain how plants adapt in some environments in or to respire, and explain some applications of factors that affect respiration in everyday activities. Plant factors. There are many plant factors which affect respiration. They vary from cell type, tissue type, age of plant tissue, among others. Some of them are discussed as follows: kind of cell or tissue. Various tissues of plants respire differently and at different rates. Young and developing cells, particularly meristematic regions, usually have higher respiration rates compared to other plant organs. Similarly, developing and ripening fruit and seeds also have high rates of respiration. Older cells and structural cells, on the other hand, respire at lower rates. Plant cells or tissues with high rates of metabolic activities also have high respiration rates. Developing buds usually show very high rates of respiration. Respiration rates of vegetative tissues usually decrease from the point of growth, such as the leaf tip in dicots and leaf base of monocots, to more differentiated or mature regions. In mature vegetative tissue, stems generally have the lowest respiration rates, while leaf and root respiration varies with the plant species and the conditions under which the plants are growing. When a plant tissue reaches maturity, its respiration rate remains almost constant or decreases slowly as the tissue ages and senses in the end. However, in fruits such as banana, avocado, and apple, respiration increases with the onset of ripening. Similarly, respiration increases in sensing detached leaves and flowers as well. This marked rise in respiration is referred to as climacteric respiration, and it is triggered by increase in endogenous production of ethylene. Plant injury. Injury to a plant tissue usually will result in increased respiration. This is because the plant's growth rate increases in attempt to recover from the injury. Some plants synthesize compounds to fight pests and diseases. This ultimately leads to increase in respiration. Some herbicides kill plants by disrupting or affecting respiration. This is applied in glyphosate Roundup, the weedicide, which is used these days to kill weeds on fields and farms. Environmental factors affect respiration in plants. Environmental factors such as oxygen, temperature, irradiance, that's solar energy, water availability, carbon dioxide, among other, affect respiration of whole plants and plant organs. Many environmental factors thus alter the operation of metabolic pathways and respiratory rates. Temperature. Respiration generally has higher optimum and maximum temperatures than photosynthesis. This can lead to net dry matter loss at high temperatures where respiration exceeds photosynthesis. The temperature refers to the internal temperature of a plant or animal cell, not air temperature. Therefore, using irrigation to help cool the plant can keep the plant in the net gain range. Generally, respiration increases with temperature between 0 and 30 degrees Celsius. The increase in respiration rate for every 10 degrees Celsius increases in ambient temperature is about 2. This is referred to as the dimensionless temperature coefficient, or Q10. Above 30 degrees Celsius, the temperature usually increases more slowly and reaches a plateau at 40 to 50 degrees Celsius. Thereafter, respiration decreases with an even higher temperature. It is therefore thought that night temperatures account for the high respiratory rates in tropical plants. That is why vegetables and yam tubers are stored under cool conditions to reduce respiration and extend storage time. So when you store vegetables in the fridge, it is not to cool them but to reduce respiration so that they can stay long and fresh. Oxygen can affect plant respiration because of its role as a substrate in the overall process. Low oxygen can reduce aerobic respiration and increase anaerobic respiration, discussed earlier in previous sessions of this unit. Respiration decreases if the atmospheric concentration of oxygen is below 5% for whole tissues or below 2 to 3% for tissue slices. Intercellular spaces in plants facilitate diffusion of oxygen to the mitochondria for aerobic respiration to take place. Without gaseous diffusion throughout the plant, cellular respiration rates of many plants would be adversely affected by insufficient supply of oxygen. Light, irradiance or solar radiation can enhance the rate of photorespiration but does not directly affect other forms of respiration. Photorespiration happens in plants during daytime when solar radiation is so high that respiration is high. Sometimes the rate of photosynthesis may be equal to the rate of respiration when there is no net gain in dry matter by the plant. In photorespiration is higher than photosynthesis, then there will be a net loss of dry matter. Carbon dioxide concentration. Higher carbon dioxide levels reduce rate of respiration. This is a feedback inhibition. In commercial storage of fruits, advantage of the effects of atmospheric oxygen and temperature on respiration is taken to store fruits at low temperatures and under 2 to 3% oxygen and 3 to 5% carbon dioxide. The reduced temperature and oxygen lower the rate of respiration. Lower oxygen is also used to prevent anoxic conditions, which can result in fermentative metabolism. Carbon dioxide used in storage has a limited direct inhibitory effect on the respiration, since it is well in excess of 0.036% or 360 parts per million concentration of atmospheric carbon dioxide. Diffusion limitation of oxygen is more significant when plant organs are growing in an aqueous medium. That is why hydroponic plants must be aerated vigorously to keep oxygen levels high in the vicinity of roots. Similarly, plants grown in wet or flooded areas have a problem with oxygen supply. Some plants, such as rice, can grow in wet or waterlogged areas because their roots contain intercellular air spaces large enough to allow for diffusion of gases, including oxygen. The air spaces are connected way up to the leaves in order for the roots to obtain enough oxygen supply for their survival. Some tree plants, such as Rhizophora, red mangroves, and Avicennia, white mangroves, develop pneumatophores, which are aerial roots that allow them to obtain atmospheric oxygen for respiration. Remember, glucose is required for cellular respiration in both plants and animals, whether aerobic or anaerobic respiration. Glucose is the first substrate of choice. Therefore, if glucose is in short supply, respiration will be reduced. Hence, adequate glucose is needed to carry out respiration. In the absence of glucose, lipids are used. If lipids are limited in supply, then protein is used for respiration. ATP is necessary for life, so cells must produce ATP. Higher concentrations of ATP reduce rate of respiration. This is a feedback inhibition. That is, if there is enough ATP in the cell or tissue, then respiration will reduce in order not to waste resources. Since ATP is necessary for life processes, in the absence of glucose, the cell breaks down fats and protein to provide adenosine triphosphate. Similarly, the cell goes through fermentation if oxygen is lacking. pH also affects respiration. As pH increases, rate of cellular respiration increases, but decreases at a higher pH due to enzymes being denatured. Cellular respiration is primarily carried out by enzymes present in the cells. pH can dramatically affect the activity of enzymes since they are proteins and can gain or lose hydrogen ions. Enzymes have pH optima, that is pH at which they work the best. Thus, any pH outside the optima for any of the enzymes in the respiratory chain will adversely affect its performance and consequently respiration. So, in review, The biotic and abiotic factors that may or do affect the process of respiration in plants were outlined and discussed in this session. Plant adaptations in response to these factors were also duly explained.